Okay, Donna, thank you for agreeing to be the second of four people to share your thoughts on our stewardship appeal titled Beginning a Culture of Generosity. Now, you and Tom, not so long ago, were new to Brevard and were looking for a church home. What was it about the Lutheran Church of the Good Shepherd that helped you to say this is where we belong and where we feel like we can share our gifts?
Well, Tom and I lived in Charlotte for over 40 years, and when we retired, we decided to downsize, and we had a house in Pisgah Forest, so we decided to move here. And we began looking at churches in the area, primarily Presbyterian churches, because I was raised in the Presbyterian church, and we belonged to one in Charlotte for many, many years. So we visited those churches, and then we decided to branch out and look at other denominations. I remember the first time we visited Good Shepherd. It was quite an experience for us because it was the first time we attended a Lutheran service, and it was a little bit different from our Presbyterian services, but we liked it very much. We liked the service itself, the liturgy, the music, the sermon. We liked having weekly communion, and the warmth of the congregation. The congregation, they were after the first service, they came and spoke with us, and we just felt welcomed. And then a little bit later, Jane McCowan came and she sent emails just encouraging us to return, which we did. And then we learned even more about the church and liked it even more. We liked the outreach ministry program, the adult Sunday school, and we learned that there were probably 12 or more retired ministers who regularly attended the church and led many of the Sunday school classes. We liked the weekly, the coffee hours, the Lectio Divina program, the hikes. The Coopers used to lead monthly hikes, and the Guess Who's Coming to Dinner program was really fun. So there were so many things we liked about the church. It didn't take very long for us to make the decision to join. We also liked the closeness of not only the congregation, but the closeness of Pastor Mary. She was always available to talk to us, and we had quite a few conversations with her during that time. So we soon joined, and we're just so very glad that we did.
Okay, excellent. So you have recently agreed to serve as a shepherd in the new ministry that we're starting called Tending God's Flock. Share a little bit about why you think this ministry is important and why you are excited to be asked to be a shepherd.
Well, I first learned about tending God's flock when I read your column, Pastor Ken, in the newsletter. And it really intrigued me, the fact that the congregation would be divided into groups, and each group would have one or more shepherds, and the fact that the group would, the shepherds would regularly check on its members and make sure everything was okay with them. And then also the fact that the group would do activities together, maybe social activities, Bible study, or community activities. And it just seemed like it would be another way to strengthen the bond and support our members. And I know member care is one of the 5 strategic goals for our congregation currently. And I know that we already have so many caring members in place who do some of these activities anyway. They provide transportation and meals for when necessary or when needed, and send out cards, and there's so many caring things that are done, but this seemed to be like a more systematic approach so that we'd all be cared for, nobody would fall through the cracks, and I think it would. I think it'll lead toward an even closer knit congregation than we already have. So I was really delighted when Linnea asked Tom and I to be shepherds, and we're looking forward to the training, which will begin next week and getting started.
So you've also stepped out in faith, Donna, and have committed to learning a new skill to begin knitting prayer shawls to be given to people who are going through difficult times in their lives. What motivated you to step forward and say, I'd like to be part of that?
Well, I was first introduced to the prayer shawl ministry a few years ago when we were visiting churches in the area. We attended a church in Hendersonville who had a prayer shawl ministry. And the service we attended introduced us to this program because they had a prayer shawl blessing. And that just seemed like such a caring thing to do for members who were going through a rough time. So I learned about it then and became interested in it. And then I read an article in the Transylvania Times last year about Brevard's First United Methodist Church's program. They also have a very strong prayer ministry, a prayer shawl ministry program. So I was very interested, even though I'm pretty much a beginner when it comes to knitting and crocheting. But as soon as I read in the newsletter about Good Shepherd's prayer shawl program that will be beginning, I just had to get involved. So there was a meeting last week, a first meeting, a Zoom meeting about the program. And Pastor Ken, I remember you explaining about the program your church had in Virginia and how special that was to you and to its members. So I was a little hesitant because I am a beginner, and I explained that to the group, and they were very encouraging. Donna Colflesh explained that there were patterns for beginners and YouTube programs on how to do prayer shawls, and encouraged me to participate. So soon after, she sent me some patterns, and we selected one particular one that would be best for a beginner. And I've ordered my crochet hook and my yarn and hope to get started soon. So I think it's going to be it's another member care program that will be supporting our members when they're going through a tough time. And we also decided that we might even expand it to our college students. And instead of doing shawls, perhaps we'll do scarves. And we can knit or crochet the scarves in their school colors. So that's another way we might meet the needs of our congregation. And so we're going to have another meeting soon. And I encourage anyone who has experience with knitting or crocheting, or who's a beginner like me, to consider getting involved. So thank you, Pastor Ken, for introducing or bringing these two new ministries to our church. I think especially during the COVID-19 times, these will be especially meaningful.
Well, thank you, Donna, for your witness, for your enthusiasm for this church and for its ministries and for its plans for the future.